Are you stuck working for the laziest, most slacker leader that you have ever seen? Ugh, yuck. Now, there are some benefits. If you gotta have a terrible boss in the lazy direction, there could be worse. One of the great things is, well, you probably get to make your mark because they're just busy leaning back, letting you do your thing. So that's a positive side, but there are so many negative sides of working for a lazy leader. So let's talk about some coping strategies to help you if you find yourself in this situation. The first one is that lazy leaders tend not to have done the work to delegate effectively or set up work well, or to even provide the feedback, coaching, editing that ensures that your work is of the quality you would like. So in some ways, you have to go find some kind of surrogate manager so that your work doesn't suffer. Because unfortunately, if your work suffers, it likely is seen by people beyond your team, and it's going to affect your reputation without people necessarily knowing that your work didn't have the benefit of your manager's oversight because they're so freaking lazy. So you do want to make sure that you understand, what does good look like here? What are you looking for? How is this being used? You want to find other people, maybe your peers or folks in other departments, mentors that you have who can take a peek at your work, say, are there angles that I'm missing? Is it compelling, clear, and concise? What else could I include? Those sorts of things. So number one, if you have a really lazy leader, you're going to have to go find somebody to kind of act as the person to help you understand the expectations and also to review your work. The second risk of a lazy leader is that they tend to be quite unstrategic because being strategic takes energy, and who's got energy? Not your slacker leader. So that means that understanding how your work fits in, why it matters, why you need to make the choices you need to make, you are completely acting in a vacuum. So again, there's an opportunity for you to get plugged in and connected, build bridges beyond your existing team to get those needs met if they can't be met by your boss. So are there committees that you can join? Are there, is there a project leader who you could go to say, could you just give me the lay of the land on this project so I understand where my piece fits in? What do you see as the guiding principles for this project? What makes this important? Who should I be thinking about when I'm designing it? Getting connected, getting into what are the Slack channels where the conversations about this are happening? Who else can I tap into if I need that more strategic lens to kind of zoom out a little bit and understand some of the options to make my decisions and my work even more effective and strategic for the business? The final one that you have to be super careful of is that your lazy leader may leave you violating your work-life balance boundaries time after time after time. When your standards are higher than your leaders, it's so hard. They're like, okay, well, this is good. We'll send it to the committee on Monday. And you're thinking, we can't send this to the committee. This is not ready to go to the committee. So unfortunately, that means you're probably working the weekend to get it ready. So if you're working for a lazy leader, it's very important to be clear and deliberate, first with yourself, about what are your boundaries. Are you working on weekends? How frequently? For how long? Are you working in the evenings? And commit to, this is how often I'm willing to do this. You can even physically give yourself a pile of chips, which is really giving your lazy leader a pile of chips and saying, nope, once the chips are gone for the month, I'm out. I cannot do my job and your job. So understanding those barriers and boundaries and sticking to them. Then the final thing you need to do is help your lazy leader help is probably not the right word, but ensure that your lazy leader understands what behavior you need from them and the impact of that behavior if they continue to slack off. So for example, if that piece of work that was going to the committee on Monday, if you had to work on it all weekend, the next time you may say, we're going to the committee on Monday and I'm offline this weekend. So I need your feedback and your input by end of day Thursday so that I can incorporate it on Friday. The risk is that if we don't have something really ironclad, if it's not compelling for the committee on Monday, we'll have to go back to the committee, and that's 4 weeks that we lose on this project that I know is important to you. So helping them understand, this is what I need from you. The more specific you can be, the better. The one piece I'm most uncomfortable about is which I've chosen as the case studies. You know more case studies than me. So I particularly need to understand, are there other case study options that would be better? I need it by end of day Thursday so I can incorporate it on Friday, or else we're losing a month worth of traction. So fourth, an important tip is making sure that your lazy leader knows exactly what you need very, very clearly, and also knows the implications of failing to provide that. So if you work for a lazy leader, well, at least it could be worse. There are abusive leaders and flip-flopping leaders and places where even when you want to take accountability and make the best of a bad situation, it's very difficult. With a lazy leader, it's one where you actually can have more control than in other situations. So it's not the worst, but it still sucks. It's not what you deserve. And so it's important to make sure that you don't let it affect the quality of your work. You find that kind of surrogate manager elsewhere, that you make sure that you're staying strategically plugged in to the organization, that you're putting boundaries in place for your own work-life balance, and that you're finding techniques to help your lazy leader start to be better at least meeting your bare minimum needs, because they better understand what you want and need and the consequences of not providing it. There are other terrible, horrible, toxic leaders, and you might have faced one of those, or one might be in your future. What do you think of this one?